Good morning, everyone. Welcome back to Coffee and Headlines, our morning get-together live here on Facebook, where we take a look at news from our city, state, and country. We take a look at your comments, ideas, and suggestions, and we combine all this information so that we can improve the quality of our lives living here in Puerto Vallarta as a community of English-speaking locals. Today is Saturday, February 3rd, and as always, it is a pleasure to welcome you to the broadcast. It is a pleasure to welcome friends that are watching live for the first time, particularly if that is your case and you don't mind that little happy welcome. Feel free to let us know by writing the word new in your comment, and we'll be so very happy to give you a nice welcome. If there is something really important that you wish to share with us, it helps a great deal if you add a capital letter Q at the beginning of your comment. That way we will know that you want some reaction or feedback to your comment, and we'll do that in the second half of the broadcast. Today we have a couple of interesting items to share, along with hopefully a more lengthy discussion about the difference between traveling to Guadalajara by bus or by plane. I will explain in a little while why this is coming up today. But I'll be curious later on in the broadcast to learn if you have a preference, if you've done the trip, if you haven't done the trip to Guadalajara, and if you haven't, what are your concerns? What is holding you back if you have been interested in visiting our capital city? So, with all that said, let us dive into our news for that. Whoa, that's bizarre. I'd never seen that layout before. This is what I want. So, for starters, in case you missed a few broadcasts this week or did not notice, we are in the middle of a long weekend, with Monday being a holiday as we celebrate Mexico's Constitution Day. And it is a good weekend so far, according to authorities, with high occupancy numbers at local hotels. In a variety of events taking place this weekend, there is a Bear Week going on, and we have the Charro Championship, and there is a downhill cycling competition going on as well. So if you see a bunch of people out and about, or more people than usual, this is because we are in the middle of a long weekend. Of course, with Monday being a holiday, you can expect banks and government offices to be closed. So if you need to move money in and out of your accounts and you require in-person support, you may want to take care of this business today or wait until Tuesday. The next federal holiday in Mexico will be Monday, March 18, when we celebrate the birth of Benito Juárez, the first indigenous president of Mexico and the first indigenous head of state in the post-colonial Americas. Moving right along, when you get your next electrical bill, you may notice that the amount is slightly higher, the amount due, slightly higher than usual. And there is a reason for that. The Federal Electricity Commission, or CFE, has announced that there will be a 7.8% price increase in electricity through the country as of this month. That said, it is worth remembering that your bill can vary according to your average monthly consumption and the average summer temperature. In my case, for example, my bill is seldom higher than 400 pesos. So I can expect to pay an additional 31 pesos per month, give and take. It's not bad for me, but I'm sure there are other people out there that are not as fortunate, either because their income is lower or because they favor air conditioning, which, as we know, can add a substantial amount to electrical bills. And then I have this news item that made me laugh somewhat. Take a look at this photograph taken recently at the beginning of the Malecón. It looks like major construction or business to me, and from the side of it, you'd think some remodeling is taking place. Well, if it is, nobody seems to know who's responsible behind this work, or why, or better yet, with whose authority did they start digging up Puerto Vallarta's iconic Malecón. Ceapal, our waterworks company, doesn't know about it. The director of Municipal Public Works doesn't know about it. And the director of Urban Development and the Environment doesn't know about it either. Apparently, based on this other photograph, it has to do with one of the commercial spaces located along the Malecón. And I recall that an old structure was recently demolished there. One way or another, I'm sure that someone is going to get a hefty fine for this. Now let's take a quick look at the weather forecast, which actually I forgot to turn on, but it is coming up momentarily. And here we are. Oh, rest in peace, Apollo Creed. Yes, we know of the actor who passed away, and his name escapes me right now. But it is 24 degrees out there. Humidity is high at 67%. And our weather forecast for today tells us that we're going to enjoy clear skies in the morning with partly cloudy skies in the afternoon, a high temperature of 27 and a low temperature of 19. Then tomorrow, Sunday, we're going to enjoy clear skies throughout the day with a high of 27 and a low of 16. And we're going to begin the work week with clear skies throughout the day. This is on Monday, with 26 as a high and 15 as a low. Of course, once again, Monday is a holiday, but not everybody has the benefit of taking the day off. We will be here, of course, and we are looking forward to it. Now, let us talk about Puerto Vallarta and Guadalajara for a second. Every now and then, particularly before or during a long weekend, someone goes ahead and publishes a comparative article on the difference between traveling to Guadalajara by bus or by plane. And we have such an article here, and we'll include it in the show notes. Now, I'll cut to the chase as far as the article goes, but then I would like to throw in my 2 cents. According to the article, the average one-way bus fare to Guadalajara is 740 pesos, give and take. And you can find one-way flights to Guadalajara for as little as 638 pesos. So you would think that it is best to fly. But in reality, there are many factors that you may want to take into consideration. As far as the bus ride is concerned, several companies offer the service, so you have more choices in terms of times to depart. You can have, well, there are as many as 10 or 20 departure times throughout the day. In addition, there are fancy buses and others that are not so much. So prices can also vary according to the line that you are taking. We know that ETN are the more expensive buses, but they're more comfortable and more spacious. The other ones are less spacious and less expensive. And of course, if you are a Mexican national or have a temporary or permanent residence and are 60 years of older, you can get substantial discounts on your bus fare if you pursue a senior card. And if you're going shopping, you have far more latitude on the bus in terms of the amount of luggage you can carry with you than on the plane. That said, not everybody feels comfortable with the idea of sitting on a bus for 5 hours. On the other hand, the plane, in terms of flying, several airlines do offer flights to Guadalajara. And of course, these take less than an hour, but you have less choices in terms of departure time. And in order to find bus fares such as the one mentioned here, you really have to do your homework. And more often than not, you have to purchase your tickets way in advance. Not to mention the fact that the lowest fares usually do not apply to weekends. Also, aviation guidelines expect you to be at the airport 1 or 2 hours ahead of time, whereas you can arrive at the bus terminal with the bus being just about to leave without any problem. Then, of course, there is the issue of getting from the terminal to the city. There are two bus terminals in Guadalajara, and more often than not, you want to get off the bus on the first one unless you're heading to the opposite side of the city, which will add some 45 minutes to your travel time. There is only one airport, of course, and all terminals have affordable public transportation connections to the city, and Uber is generally less expensive in Guadalajara than in Puerto Vallarta. So, of course, if you've been watching for a while, you know that I'm a big fan of taking the bus to Guadalajara. I don't mind sitting on the bus. I usually bring some things to do, a book to read or some crochet, or if I'm traveling with a friend, there's conversation. And the buses have movies, and you can always bring your audiobook or whatever. But feel free to share your comments on these two options or ask any questions you may have about traveling to Guadalajara, and we will gladly look at them in a second. But first, before we get into our chit-chat section, and lastly for today, if you are a Coffee and Headline subscriber, whether you subscribe monthly or annually, you received an announcement by email a couple of days ago of our members-only live broadcast, which will take place this afternoon at 3 p.m. local time. These members-only broadcasts give us the opportunity to spend more time together more informally, check in on the experience of enjoying Coffee and Headlines, and exchange suggestions for future content ideas. So please check your inbox or log in to Coffee and Headlines today if you missed the announcement. And now let us take a quick look at your comments just to see what you are planning to do, what you're up to, what your weekend looks like. And as always, we see a lot of good mornings, which are very much appreciated. Toon. And I'm looking for cues. Thank you very much for that, Mark. Yes, I'm feeling much better. Well, I've been feeling okay. It's just that my throat is taking a little bit longer to clear than usual. But I am headed in the right direction. Thank you very much for your kind remark. Let's see what else we have. Boom. Oh, good morning, Paco and Cluster from Rara. I don't know where Rara is, but now I'm intrigued. Do feel free to let us know. And Daniel, you have been on my mind all yesterday and today because I'm pining for new gear. And of course, whenever I'm pining for new gear, I'll always think about you because you are my gear counselor and my gear god. So it's always great to see you. It is time to upgrade a couple of gadgets here at Coffee and Headlines. Um, I know that my mixer has sometimes been unreliable, and there's a new gizmo out there that just makes me feel giddy. So I'm saving my pesitos. Let's see what else we have. Up. Muffin. Now, this is what I call a picture perfect day. I can't think of a better way to spend this sunny day than installing myself as a pool ornament downstairs. Good for you. I hope you enjoy your newly or recently improved pool. Let's see. There's a queue. Thank you very much. Does the bus to Guadalajara make any stops along the way? And is there a bathroom on board the bus? Those are two very good questions, Ricky. The answer to the first one is yes. Buses stop in Nuevo Vallarta, or Nuevo Nayarit, as the governor now calls the place. That stop is usually not more than 10 minutes, as it's just for passengers to embark and disembark. Of course, if you want to take the bus to Guadalajara and you live in Nayarit, it might be better for you to board the bus in Nuevo Vallarta than in Puerto Vallarta. As far as bathrooms on the bus, yes, the buses have two bathrooms, one labeled male and one labeled female. So you don't have to worry about that. There's another question. Hey, Paco, we still don't show up as members, even though Kathy signed up as a regular member and I signed up as a cluster angel back in August. Dan, please let me take a look at this right after the broadcast, and I will be so very happy to get back to you. Thank you very much for letting me know. I'll send you a chat just to corroborate your email addresses. Let's see. Mihal comments, I've done both fly and the bus. Prefer the bus, not so rushed, and although the time in the air is only 45 minutes when flying, by the time we got to the airport, checked in, then all getting on, getting off the plane, waiting for luggage, it honestly only saved about 30 minutes. I hear that and totally can relate to it. And that is my preference is always the bus. And then Brian says, we've taken the bus and flown to Guadalajara. We took the bus and mistakenly didn't book the Zapopan stop, so traffic through town at a time. Our door-to-door time was about 11 hours. What? 11 hours? Really? Oh, my goodness. Our door-to-door time was about 11 hours. When we flew, our door-to-door time was 5 hours. We might be persuaded into taking the bus to the Zapopan stop and report back. I totally hear you, Brian. Sometimes, see, there's a lot of people talking about the new highway from Puerto Vallarta to Guadalajara, but of course, they announced, 3.5 hours travel time 10 years ago when they started the project, not taking into account the number of vehicles that travel through the highway or the number of vehicles that are present in Puerto Vallarta or Guadalajara. Depending on the time you reach Guadalajara, if you are arriving at rush hour or at some crazy time of the day, or if there's a football game or something, yes, you can end up bumper to bumper for a while. But in general, my experience is that the bus is overall more comfortable. But then, not everybody can enjoy sitting down for such a long time. Paula asks, when did the email go out? I honestly don't remember, Paula. I think it went out yesterday or the day before. Let's see. Logan says, Mijal, not to mention the drive that still awaits you to get into Centro. I believe the airport is closer to Chapala than Guadalajara, Centro, or Tlaquepaque. This is correct. If I was going to Tlaquepaque or I was going to Chapala, for example, I would consider taking the plane, or I would not mind taking another 45 minutes on the bus all the way to the main terminal, because from the main terminal to downtown Tlaquepaque by subway takes less than 10 minutes to navigate. So again, it really boils down to where you're headed. As a comparison, going to Mexico City has 4 different bus terminals in the north, south, east, and west of the city. And, you can schedule a bus ride to Mexico City to any of these terminals. Then there's an interesting question. Ricky says, is there train service between Puerto Vallarta and Guadalajara? The answer is not at present time. But of course, the government is looking at long-term rescuing a number of train lines or train rides or train, what do you call them? Train routes. That's what I'm trying to say. And one of the routes that the government is hoping to reestablish at some point is Puerto Vallarta to Guadalajara. But when and how this will happen, I wouldn't think this will happen in less than 5 years, if not more. Chrissy says, we are members and never received the email. Check your spam folder, Chrissy. And again, I will take a look at the comments right after the broadcast and look for your name. Brian says, I don't think we got an email for the members only. Again, I will look for your name after the broadcast. Ronald says, no email here. Even check the spam box. Another person that didn't get it. Well, I'm going to send it again right after the broadcast, just in case you didn't get it. And I will look at all these comments and I'll be happy to search for your names to make sure that you should have received the email message. And this, my friends, brings us to the end of today's broadcast. As always, I thank you for your support, and I thank you for your day-to-day company. Looking forward to the weekend myself, as I have a lot of work to do to prepare for next week's presentation, for this afternoon's live, and for other adventures that I'm currently involved in, not to mention a lot of crocheting. I hope you'll have a great weekend, and I hope to connect with you this afternoon, and if not, sometime in the near future. Take care.